Today we're uncovering the beauty of Bloom. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent, and we're here on an unapologetically unprofessional, unfiltered wine journey. Well, thank you, Jace.
Our saying is drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Trent, we've got a fantastic wine in front of us, the Bloom, that we're going to dig into, but you've probably been doing a lot of thinking. What have you been thinking about?
What am I thinking about? I do a lot of thinking, Jason, and there's a big question mark as we've gone through this podcast. It's about how bad is wine for your health?
I've been trying to avoid that one. Yes, but tell me.
It's the elephant in the room.
It is.
So I've been doing a bit of research. January 2023, the World Health Organization said 0 amounts of alcohol is good for body. So no amount of alcohol is good for your body. It classified as a group 1 carcinogen with the likes of asbestos, tobacco, and also radiation.
Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good. Yeah. So it's very much all doom and gloom, but I do want to provide some perspective onto it. So it's not the highest contribution to deaths, in Australia. The first heart disease and dementia, it's number 6 on the list. In Australia, in the census, 2022, it is 6 deaths in every 100,000 in terms of a contributor. But then I get these mixed messaging, probably funded through maybe a lot of alcohol brands as well. And it talks about, polyphenols, they're great for heart. Great for your heart as well. So mixed messaging. But the more I uncover, I felt like I was going down this rabbit hole where every person has a voice on it. But I had to try and come to a conclusion at the end of this one. My conclusion is that, one, alcohol is bad for you, but so are a lot of things. So, we make choices in life and we just have to be aware of those risks. And that could be us eating a greasy hamburger. It could be us driving a car long distance. It could be people vaping, could be people taking cigarettes, could be us going through areas with high radiation or something like that. We make these choices and we have to accept the risks on it. So I guess my thing is that you got to respect the wine. And I think our motto is also, drink less, but also drink better as well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I've intentionally been trying to avoid that topic, to be honest, because I'm really scared of what it'll uncover. I think there's two sides to it. It's like, yes, it may be dangerous like many other things like long distance traveling. But on the scale, how dangerous is it in comparison to that versus, say, cigarettes, right? I haven't looked into the scale.
Yeah.
Is there any information about how relatively dangerous it is?
Again, it's a 6 contributor, but then it is, say, the more you drink, the risk increases. Yeah. So I think as long as within moderation and you accept those choices within your life, it's okay. Like recently I was listening to a podcast and a nutritionist saying that there's a lot of noise about, seed oils are bad for you. Yeah. So that causes increased heart disease. Yeah. I know that's not true, but then there's all these different things that you make choices on. Like one is, being a vegetarian, just drinking water the whole time. But then, is that the choice that you want to make? Yeah. That's right. Do you leave it at altogether? Look, I think the story around moderation is what's key. I like the discussion we had with Andreas the other day, where he kind of referenced those countries that are known for drinking wine, France, Italy, they're drinking wine on a daily basis, and they're not coming out with any statistics around high deaths because of the alcohol. But that's where you respect the wine as well. They're not drinking till they get pissed. Yes, completely wasted, binge drinking. So again, respect the alcohol, drink less, but drink better. It's probably my learning from it. Moderation is the key. What are your thoughts on wine and health? Let us know. Let us know. What have you been thinking about, Jace? I've been thinking about a recent episode we had around the wine fridge and my regret, and I'm still thinking about it. Lots of regret that's been going on. But during that time, you also made a point around, you use WineArk, you use wine storage services. So I've been thinking about wine storage services, and I really wanted to get your perspective on its use. You use WineArk. What is a wine storage service? Are you able to describe it? I use a managed cellar. So what they do, you drop off the wines, they inventory your wine, and then you go online and then you can say, okay, I want to take this one out, and they help manage that. They keep it in ideal humidity, ideal temperature, supposedly. I guess. And yeah, it's just like an offsite storage, but keeping it like how it should be without kind of cluttering your house.
Yeah. You said, wines are kind of like your kids. You should be protecting them. Right. This is an opportunity to do so. You're kind of paying for a service where they look after your kids or your wine in this instance. And you don't need to worry about space. You don't need to worry about having a small wine fridge.
Because wine is a living, breathing thing. So you do have to kind of look after it. It's not like, I don't know, a cardboard box or furniture. It is living, breathing. So you do have to look after it. Like I do lock up my kids in a very safe space.
Yeah, you lock them up. Lock them up's probably a different term. Yeah. But you are sheltering them, and so that's what's attractive about it. And it's also what was attractive about the wine fridge. And so I kind of wanted to look at what's the pros and cons, and then talk about a few options available within Sydney, and then really hear from the community. What do you guys think out there? Would you use a wine service, and which one? So pros and cons. You pretty much covered it. It's kind of a no-brainer in terms of you're giving it to someone to take care of it. They've got the humidity control, the temperature control, the light, the vibration, the security. It's a vault. It's well taken care of. I think the biggest thing in comparison to a wine fridge is that whole scalability size. Like as you grow or shrink your collection, you don't need to worry about the constraints of a wine fridge or the constraints of your house and your room. You can give it to them. They've got unlimited space.
Yeah.
It feels like.
I think about like finance, when you buy a wine fridge, it's upfront capital.
Yep.
Which you're investing then, over the period over time, there's depreciation, etc. like that. Whereas with a managed cellar or like Wine Arc, then it's like an ongoing subscription that you have to keep on paying.
Yeah. So reduce the upfront cost.
Yeah.
But over time, it depends on how long you'll have it.
Yeah. So do you go for like the SaaS-based service, or do you go for the upfront capital? It's probably like decision.
It does feel like SaaS-based services to consider. It actually is. Some other benefits in just looking around the options that are out there. The inventory management you mentioned earlier, that was quite interesting because they have services out there. They'll take a photo, catalog your wine. You can go onto an online app or on the websites itself, and you can see your collection and how it's traveling over time. Some of them can even sell your wine for you. I think Wine Arc does that. So if you're looking to offload a bit, you can go through those services as well. Some of them take direct imports or direct orders from the wineries or from the retailers. So you don't even need to take it home and then take it to them. Just deliver it to them. They'll take care of it. So really beneficial. Yeah. I think the cons, it's got to be cost is an aspect. You got to consider it. Are there any other cons you're thinking about?
Well, the con is that you have to travel to your managed cellar to then get the wine. Whereas if like you have the wine fridge there, you don't have to do that. So I have to think in advance saying, okay, this Saturday, I want that wine. I have to put it through the website. I have to wait for it to be ready. Then I go and pick it up and then I go. So I have to do a bit more planning with a managed cellar compared to a wine fridge in your house.
Yeah, there's planning because of the location. I think there is an element of trust, and I don't know if this is for everyone. Maybe you don't want to trust your, $10,000 bottles of wine with an external. Maybe you want to keep it, closer to home so you can have your eye on it. So those are probably a couple of the cons to consider: the money, the location, and then whether or not you trust it. Looking in the market, I probably saw 3 of them that were quite interesting within the city market. Wine Arc was one of them. I kind of see Wine Arc as probably the premium of them all. It had all of those services: inventory management, drop it off, all of that. Certainly, just looking at the website, it felt like it was a premium wine-focused service. Then the other one out there is IT Cellar or It Cellar. Cellar It, I think, which actually started around the same time as Wine Arc, so about 25 years. Again, offering very similar services, but it just didn't have that prestige feel, only based on the aesthetics of the website itself. And the difference is location. So you talked about that being a con. Like the Wine Arc locations, I think there's 3 of them, and they're all around City, North Shore area. Cellar It is only in Wetherill Park, so it's only nearby me, actually. So depending on where you're living, how's it going to work? Prices, it was actually a bit complicated for me to work out pricing, but it looks like there's a drop-off fee for them to catalog it, record it, and then there's an ongoing monthly fee for storage.
And then I think the more you have, then the cheaper it is per bottle. So there is a scale there.
It's a scale to make it more efficient, more cost-worthy. There was one more that I saw, which was interesting, which was Kennard's storage wine storage. Have you seen these?
I've seen it, but I haven't used it. I don't know the details behind it.
So to me, it looks like a no-frills version of what the others are offering. So they don't store the wine for you. You're responsible for going in and putting it in. They don't have an online catalog for you. They just give you a space, a locker that's secure. It's got the right temperature. It's okay. It's good with humidity and vibration. But you're actually the one who's taking care of all your goods in there. And for that reason, they can actually offer it at quite a lower price than the others. So no frills, and you get the price for it. I kind of looked at it in terms of upfront capital costs versus the ongoing costs. And to get a wine fridge, say 130 bottles, you can go up $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the fridge that you're doing.
Even more, I think.
Even more in comparison to this monthly fee. And that's interesting because you're not going to fill up the 120 bottles straight away. You're going to grow into it. So you're really only paying for what you're using. So it's quite an interesting and attractive service, and I am considering it even more so. I'm considering the Kennards one because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
Cellar also has like a 3-month bonus, and it's close by, so I might consider that.
Yeah, I think maybe Wine Arc can give some special deals as well.
Maybe Wine Arc, happy to hear what you've got for us.
John Cuff, I think, is that Wine Arc.
All right, there we go. John, if you're listening, let us know what's going on. So to me, those are considerations to have, those wine managed storage services. Let us know in the comments below, what are you using? What are the pros and cons? Is there any that you recommend? I'm really interested to hear what the community says about it.
Cool. On to today's episode. We've got a very special wine in front of us. We've had it for a while now. We've been waiting to crack it open. We're going to do it today.
Yeah.
So you can bring it to the camera.
Super exciting to have this one.
So this is a 2015 Bloom Chardonnay from Brash Higgins. So we came across this one when we were having a chat with Merrick Watts, and he said this is one of his favorite Chardonnay. He said that, I love big wines as in oxidative.
Yep.
And this is the example that he mentioned in the podcast. Little did we know, it's actually really, really hard to find this wine.
Yeah.
So I think we had to search for a place in Perth to kind of pick up just a couple of bottles, but we asked a few places, and it's really, really hard because he doesn't make it every single year. But just to give a bit of background, Brad Hickey is the winemaker and owner from Brash Higgins, who's American, is born in Chicago, and then he went to Paris into restaurants and learned a bit about wine and French cuisine. He went back to Portland, Oregon, and then went to New York, where he really established roots for about 10 years, where he became a somm. From there, he worked at some of the kind of established kind of restaurants in New York, Daniel Boulud, which is one of the big ones. And also the other one is David Bouley's restaurant, 2-star Michelin restaurants in New York. 2007, he decided, he was invited by Chris Ringland to come to Australia to do a vintage with him. And he came down to South Australia and met his partner now, Nicole Thorpe, who had a small vineyard called Omen Setter, where was planted Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. During that time, there was droughts. They said, okay, I need to start to experiment with other varietals that are a bit more drought resistant. Yep. Okay. Through that time, I think this is really what I guess Brad Hickey is about, doing something different. He's got the name Brash Higgins because he's a bit brash and American in that sense.
Right.
And he really pushes the boundaries. So when no one was doing Nero d'Avola, he looked at Sicily as that kind of drought type of hot type of area and go, I'm going to do Nero d'Avola in amphora. I'm going to look at gordo and for his Zibbibo type of wines.
What's gordo? I've never heard of gordo.
Gordo. I remember we were in Salvaterre. It was actually a bit of a joke when the guy there goes, what are you going to plant? Gordo.
Yeah, okay.
Because like this kind of big, fat, juicy grape, which actually mean, was it small, fat in Italian or something like that?
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So a wine that is normally used for cask wine, he started making into a bit more of an elevated, elegant wine.
He's a risk taker.
He's a risk taker. Like the other one is Riesling and Semillon.
Yeah, okay.
Like no one does Riesling and Semillon. You do Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, but you do like a Riesling Semillon. So again, like he doesn't rest on his laurels. He has no attachment to this is the way you should be doing things. He likes to push the boundaries and experiment. I think that's really the crux of what Brad Hickey tries to do. And this is shown in this wine, the Bloom. So the backstory behind Bloom is made by accident, actually. He 2008 Chardonnay. He left it in barrel accidentally for 7 to 8 years. He then tried it, and now it's recognised as one of the best Australian expressions of the Jura wine, Vin Jaune. So again, remember with Vin Jaunes, where you leave it there, my floor or bacterial floor kind of like settles on top of it, which protects it from oxidation.
Yeah.
Then you leave it there for a long time and starts to build these kind of funky, nutty, dried fruit type of notes that kind of come through. The other points to note with this Bloom, though, is like it's made from McLaren Vale Chardonnay.
Yeah.
You don't normally associate Chardonnay with McLaren Vale.
Yeah.
Other one is that it was hard to find, so it does not make one every year. There's one in 2008, 2015, 2017, so only on certain years does he make this wine. And it's a big investment when you think about it. You pick the grapes and you leave it there for 7 to 8 years. So it's not something there to kind of really make money. It's really there as a passion and experimentation, right? And the other thing that he mentions, right, is polarizing. It's not for everybody. Some will love it, some won't love it. Similar to Vin Jaune as well. Like some people love it, some people don't love it. You're tasting it now. What are your initial impressions?
Polarizing is the right word. It's really interesting because before you'd mentioned Jura, I was like, oh, it's quite unfamiliar. But the moment you mentioned Jura, I was like, hold on, it's very similar to Jura in that sense. The color itself even stands out more. You can see it in the glass here. It's kind of this darkened honey kind of color.
What hits you immediately?
What hits me immediately? I guess the smell hits me. The smell's got this funky, which is the right way to describe it. Funky, almost vegetable kind of smell. We were saying it earlier, almost a bit of walnut, but it's also a bit, I was thinking like varnish.
Yeah.
Like, we were doing that discussion with Mark Maloof, and like that vinegary kind of smell comes through.
Yeah. There's also a bit, what color would you say this is?
It's like a more browner honey kind of color.
Brown color. Yeah, it's a really weird color. It also gives me elements of when we tried the Georgian wines, the orange wines, that kind of oxidative nature as well that kind of comes through. I did actually reach out to Brad as well in terms of, we're going to open up the 2015. He said that it's fairly rich oxidative style, which we know. It's bottled in 2021, so that was 6 years that it had in the barrels and then in bottle for another year. Decant for 2 hours and keep on the cool side before drinking. It pairs wonderfully with pasta with prawn butter, Comté cheese, which
makes sense
we tried last time in Jura wine. So the notes that I got was, yes, definitely that kind of walnut, but also these kind of like dried peach, dried mandarin peel, kind of dried apricots type of thing. But on the palate, I found it really interesting as well. What are you getting?
I'm getting, I don't know, my face is scrunching up because when you're talking about it's not for everyone, at this stage it's not for me. The flavor, I would say it is quite those dried fruits, but also it's medium body, medium to light bodied, and a medium acidity in there. But it's a flavor that kind of varnish flavor I can't get over.
Yeah, it's almost like this lemon zing that kind of like hits the middle of your tongue, like you would like eating a lemon. But it's this kind of little dusty tannic grip as well that you wouldn't expect with another Chardonnay. So it has texture to it, has a kind of a thin line of acidity kind of going straight down, but then these kind of funky dried fruits, nutty kind of aromas coming through. So a bit like Vegemite, right?
Yeah, it's Vegemite. It's kind of one of those things it's got to grow on you because it's so unique. So
this Chardonnay was grown on the sandy Blewitt Springs, which is famous for Grenache, and you took a wonderful photo there as well. 6.5 years, selected white Burgundy barrels, bottled wine with additional 12 months in cold cellar. He talks about honey, toffee apples, Springbank whiskey, butterscotch and desiccated coconut, ripe citrus, apple, curry powder, coupled with the lovely sea spray and nutty whiffs.
The three things stood out: curry powder,
Nutty whiffs?
Nutty whiffs. That could be taken a few different ways with that nutty flavour.
What nuts are you thinking?
The chewy nuts.
The chewy nuts? I still don't know.
And then there was something else about the fruit that you were talking about. But, some of the aspects, maybe it's one of those drinks to kind of mull over time and then shows itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Corkscrews then.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely unique. It's definitely not my preference in terms of wine. Talking about the quality of the wine, I mean, it's a different style of wine, and it does harken back to Georgia and Jura wines. I'd probably give this a 6 out of 10 corkscrews. Not blowing me away. Yeah. What about you?
Around that mark, I was thinking 7. I think it needs a bit more time, maybe to develop.
That's what I'm curious about.
So we've opened it up around 12:30, so about 2 hours now.
Yeah.
About 2 hours, so maybe just needs a bit more time as well to kind of open up a bit more. But it's 7 at the moment.
Awesome. Well, awesome to try this because we've heard it's been nearly a year since we've heard about this.
Yeah, because it does take time for the wine to really bloom.
Nice. I like what you poured in there. Maybe that's why it was given that name.
Yeah, exactly. So I know, what do you guys think about Bloom Chardonnay? Have you guys tried it? Have you tried any other vintages? Let us know in the comments.
All right. And so that's us here. We're going to wind it up. As we like to say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.